Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back down under the mat. We are here in Madison Square Garage around the pool table of relevancy. This is Mr. Dan Danielson. I'm Roddy Reece. We're here to talk all things professional wrestling. Kicking it off today, I want to give a huge shout out to all women involved in professional wrestling, in-ring talent, referees, behind the scenes, you name it. It is International Women's Day as of this filming, so we want to send out our love and respect to you for everything you've done for the business to entertain us all. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. Any thoughts on that, Dan?
No, spot on.
Nothing to add?
We've said this before. Women are an increasingly large part of the wrestling world, and I think it's good that a lot of them are getting their flowers and a lot of them are getting their, storylines and stuff into main events for WrestleMania. Yep. Like, we wouldn't have seen this 20 years ago. So It's really good to see that. And like you said, locally as well. It's good to see women getting the highlights and spots they are. And speaking of that, I guess we can talk about the first thing that you wanted to chat about was the possibility of them bringing back Evolution.
Yes, WWE Evolution, the all-women's PLE is rumoured, not yet announced, but rumoured to take place the 5th of July.
Yes.
The rumours are going around. I can't wait for this. The first one was great, and we had a pretty good women's roster back then. That was just when Charlotte, Sasha, and Bayley had just recently come up from NXT onto the main roster. The women's Evolution happened, and that's why we got the pay-per-view.
And they got like Trish Stratus back.
Yeah.
She's here. You got Nikki Bella back.
No disrespect, but I feel like the women's roster and the talent is even better these days. So this PLE, if it happens, is going to absolutely smash it out of the park.
Well, I think if you even look at it just based off titles, there's 7 women's titles now.
Yeah.
So you've got the
2 NXT.
2 NXT titles, then you've got the women's title, the WWE title, Intercontinental, US, and Tag.
Yeah.
So if you wanted...
You even put the Speed Championship on there.
Oh, yeah, there's a women's Speed title, yeah.
We've got 8 women's championships.
And then you've also got Liv Morgan's Crown Jewel ring.
No, that's Saudi Arabia exclusive.
Saudi only? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But like if you wanted all titles...
Could you imagine if they did that in Saudi?
7.
All women pay-per-view in Saudi.
No way.
No way. But like we've said it before with these Saudi shows, everyone that comes along, there's more and more women involved.
They're getting better.
Which is great.
That's a very interesting PLE if that comes up and they do have a full women's roster, which would be great. I think like you said, there's enough storylines. We'll talk about it on the episode today, the stuff with Bianca and IYO and Rhea. We'll talk about the Naomi and Jade and the Bianca stuff there. So there's storylines all around that. Chelsea, again, putting on a fantastic performance on SmackDown. You've got Dakota, Ivy, IYO on Raw with the Intercontinental scene. So, like, 100% there's the talent to do this. What? Did I say IYO too many times?
No, you said IYO with the Intercontinental title picture.
Yeah, and I meant... did I say her or Ivy?
You said Ivy.
I did already say... Look, you know what? Whatever.
We got it.
There's lots of women wrestling for lots of titles at the moment, and they're all very talented.
So, do we want to jump straight into the shows? Do we want to touch on some news topics first?
I think we need to discuss what everybody else on the internet has been discussing.
Yes, this is a very, very important point that Dan wants to talk about.
Well,
we need to talk about it.
We have talked about it on our Elimination Chamber wrap up last week. We've had
Go watch it if you haven't already.
Had some YouTube clips, and we've had some TikToks and stuff going out, and lots of discussion on them and in our Discord and stuff around what's happened. Obviously, it's the John Cena heel turn. Now we all have now sat with it.
To think about.
We've sat with it for a week.
Yeah.
And I think everybody is now trying to book their way out of it or how it gets done.
Yep.
So I
don't give a shit. I'm just here for the ride, man.
For the ride?
I'm just here for the ride.
Listen to The Rock, mate. It's all about it.
Ahead.
I think that it's such an interesting thing. And the one thing that I want to comment on is, A, the internet's reaction to it, in that everybody's reacting to it.
Even like non-hardcore wrestling fans.
Mainstream
they're
media.
Getting John Cena heel turn up on their feet. And they're like, why is this so significant? They're like, give me like sports references where like there's a parallel. And it's just like the fact that everyone's involved in this and it's just like so worldwide reaching is mental. Like WWE is already a global company, but the fact that it's touching people outside that wrestling bubble as well, and people are like, oh, this is interesting. Everyone's talking about this.
And this is exactly why they did it. Yeah. And I think that this is one of those things that, like, if you read the stories from Meltzer and stuff, that Rock's first choice was going to be Cody. Cool, that's fine, that makes sense. Cody said, no, I want to stay babyface. I don't like that idea of the story. Cool, and John Cena was like, yep, sign me up, let's do it. A, John's probably the company man to do that.
Yeah.
But B, this is the first time John Cena's going to get to sink his teeth into a proper heel run. Yeah. And us, like we said this on the previous pod, was that us as sort of middle-aged fans have wanted the idea of a heel Cena. We've teased that idea for a while. Whereas kids and stuff, like the amount of reaction videos I've seen this week of
kids crying.
Kids crying.
Oh, man, so devastating.
What's happening? Why would John do that? What is John doing? It's exactly what he wanted to do. Like, this is the reaction that he wanted. And you've got now all of the kids. On SmackDown, Randy Orton has his promo at the start and just says, John Cena.
Boo.
Nobody thought that was going to happen, ever. Especially not in the last year of his career. So, I mean, some of the memes coming out, all of the tiebacks to this was The Rock when he did the 1, 2, 3.
I said it on the day. I said it on the day to you while we were sitting on the couch. I was like, that's what The Rock meant at Bad Blood.
Yeah, I don't think this was planned that far back.
No,
sure,
absolutely
we can
not. And then everyone like reading into the Rock's just an
first,
idiot.
Then it's 2.
Rock is just an idiot. That's just the way he does things. I guarantee that it's just him and it's just Rock and probably Travis Scott, because apparently he's been training and wrestling. But you tell that to Cody's busted eardrum, apparently.
Yeah, and all the makeup on his face on SmackDown, like they really went into that eye injury.
Looked good.
But look, a lot of people have had debate. Is this the greatest heel turn ever? Is this more impactful than the Hogan heel turn from the 90s? And look, I think to us, we will say yes, because we weren't around as much for the Hogan heel turn.
Yeah.
I also want to say that I think that a lot of people will say that if you were back in the 90s, Hogan was starting to get booed. People started to not like him. And, you know, the NWO was a cool faction. It was a cool thing for them to do. So when he did turn, yes, it was a big shock. He was the biggest wrestler of the time as face of the company. No one really saw it happening, even though it was Bash in the Beach 96 for WCW or whatever.
Correct.
Still incredibly, you know, world-changing for what pro wrestling was at the time. I still think John Cena's is more shocking because the more things tied out that this wouldn't happen than it did with Hogan. Hogan was still in his career. The NWO was being formed. There was hints that this could be a good thing for the business.
Yeah.
Whereas John Cena, last 12 months, the babyface promo he cut at Royal Rumble, the Saturday Night's main event last year, where he's like, I've never had won a match in 2 years. I think I'm done. I'm just going to come here and I'll be good for you. And then the crowd cheer him. And then he's like, you know what? No. I'm going to enter the Royal Rumble and I'm going to win. I'm going to do this.
I'm going to win?
Yeah.
He was very hesitant at first, but then...
But that was his final run. This is, I'm going to win for you because you all believe in me and me, John Cena, and hustle, loyalty, respect. Let's do this. And then he fails. And then he goes to Elimination Chamber. Look, best for business. I mean, this was the hint of the heel turn. Was best for business. I'm entering myself. I need to be the WrestleMania main event.
Very, very subtle heel.
And then he wins and then he turns. So I think that a lot of fans that possibly thought maybe you get a John Cena heel turn, you would have assumed that would be after John Cena has failed and failed and failed and failed. Not after he wins the Elimination Chamber and gets the main event against Cody Rhodes. That's not the point.
Timing's really interesting for that.
Yeah. All the more reason why I think this is the biggest heel turn, because it was the least expected. And this week, on every WWE show, there's been 4 videos of it. Every week.
It's been showed multiple times.
Here's everyone's reaction.
Even on NXT, they're talking about it.
Here's Michael Cole's reaction. Here's the reaction of the French commentators and the
They were
Chinese
talking about it all through Raw. People that have no connection to that story whatsoever. Ludwig Kaiser, he cut a promo before Penta came out.
Yep.
Ludwig Kaiser was talking about John Cena's heel turn.
And the positive,
so wide-reaching.
I guess the positive is that he's not on TV for 2 weeks.
Yeah, we don't see him.
So we stew on this. And this is the internet talks. And we put our podcasts out. Everybody else puts out their podcasts. Everybody else reacts. And we all wait.
What I want to talk about now, I wrote this note at the beginning of the week when people started talking about it.
Yep.
New music for John Cena.
He's a bad guy.
He's a bad man. Bumpy Knuckles. Great song off his album. I went back and listened to it this week. Well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. There's a couple of dull songs in there, but I think that Bad Man, that would be a good theme song. Everyone's wanting Doctor Thugonomics back, which I don't quite
don't
see
think that
happening
fits.
because people still have a positive connection to that.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're going to do something new, Bad Man, if they're going to... Apparently Travis Scott is writing him new music. I'm throwing all that aside. Let's give him the Tommaso Ciampa treatment.
No music.
No music. Just come out to a chorus of boos.
I reckon the first time it will be.
That'd be phenomenal.
I think that... Well, only if it does it in France. I think that that's possibly what they'll do. I think the problem is as soon as you hit his music, the crowd's going to cheer. So you can't. I'm interested to see, does he ditch the hustle, loyalty, respect, one last time shirts? Or does he just go to like a black Cena shirt?
I've seen a lot of people throw out the fake shirt that's like, give up.
Oh, and
It just
never
says give
up.
up. It just says give up on a black shirt, give up in grey font. That's it. I'd buy that.
I think they'll do something with that. I mean, they'll want to sell the merch.
Stu, the interaction with Stu, the cameraman as well. It's going to be interesting to see if like I've seen a few, probably like one or two posts about people saying that Cena should attack Stu to get the point across that like this is heel Cena and he doesn't give a shit.
I don't know. Stu needs it.
Stu. Could you imagine? They've been so friendly for 20 years.
I can see Cena comes out and like he has his towel and instead of saying never give up, it says give up, right? And he walks to the kid in the front row to give it to him. And then
throws it in his face.
No, it doesn't. He pulls it away and throws it on the ground.
Wipes it on him.
Yeah, and walks up. Like that cheap heat, fine. I don't think Cena needs it, but I think they'll do it. And I'm just really keen to see it. And what I love so much about this is what you said, is how it's now gone almost like a generational heel turn in that it's outside of the pro wrestling world.
Yeah.
I went into work on Monday and someone was like, hey, did I read something that happened with John Cena on the weekend? Yeah, you
That's
did.
it. That's crazy.
It's everywhere. So, I mean, we'll keep putting our thoughts out on our TikToks and videos and things like that. And obviously, you guys have thoughts for stuff. Jump in our Discord, have a chat to us and give us your inputs. How would you book Cena's run? My pitch, essentially, for the Money in the Bank thing's now probably out the window. That's not going to happen. But I do think that this heel run probably goes for a portion of his final run. And then I think the end of it, he's still going to go back to Fruity Pebbles, kissing babies.
Yeah.
Lovely John Cena on his way out. But
face Cena by the end of the year for sure.
I think
because he'll want to go out on a positive note. I think.
But he'll definitely win this 17th. And I think it's against Cody at Mania. I think he wins the title.
Yeah, I think that's the way the story goes. Do we want to touch on Cody's promo on SmackDown while we're on the topic?
Yep. Let's talk about Cody.
Cody absolutely fired up.
Mm-hmm.
Delivered one of his arguably best promos. Fucking Jesus.
It's it's been a day. Let's just say we've been eating Maccas and drinking all day long, but we have.
You haven't been drinking, it's just me.
You have. I've just been eating Maccas and that's close enough for me.
One of Cody's best promos, the emotion about it, mentioning his daughter and having to talk to her about what happened after the Elimination Chamber. Yeah. Like, delivering that promo and then ending on that emphasis and being like, you want some, come get some, and stealing Cena's catchphrase.
Mm-hmm.
What a way to cap that off. And like you said just before, we're just going to be stewing on this until John Cena shows up next.
Yep. And I think that's the best way WWE can book it right now is, you don't have John, he's off filming. So you have everybody else talk about it.
Everyone.
And you have Punk come out on Raw and call out, Rock and Cena. You have Cody call him out. You have Orton call him out. You have everybody say how despicable this is. And all that's doing is building and building and building and building until John comes in. Which I don't think you needed to do, realistically, because John turning heel is already the biggest thing that you've done. But now what WWE is doing is making it feel like the biggest thing in the world because everyone is talking about it.
And then Cody's going to be even bigger than he was before.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people are taking out of it, which is probably the right sentiment, is that Cody Rhodes already was the flagship babyface of WWE. He's already, headlined WrestleMania 39 and 40. He's going to headline 41. He is the face of the company. He sells most of the merch, bar obviously Cena and Jay. He is what this generation would say is their John Cena in terms of the face of the company. So he's already there. And he's that big of a face for WWE that not only did they have to turn Rock heel to face him, they've now turned John Cena heel to face him.
Mental.
Crazy.
And Chris Van Vliet predicting that 12 months ago.
Oh, when he's chat with John.
Yeah, the Rock and Cena heel turn. That's crazy. We his clip up as a story on Instagram and he reacted to it.
Yeah, Chris,
we got noticed by Chris. Thanks. Appreciate it. Let's start jumping into the shows because it's been a very good week for professional wrestling.
Yes.
Kicking off Monday Night Raw, a very livid,
That Punk
furious CM Punk storms into the arena, cuts a scathing promo calling out The Rock, John Cena, and Seth Rollins, and even Becky Lynch.
Yeah, so the takeouts that I had from this was Punk is just so good on the mic.
Untouched. When he needs to pull it out, he's just untouchable.
This wasn't the pipe bomb, but it felt the same kind of emotion from him in the way that he was like, I feel like he just went to Triple H and just said, just give me the microphone and watch.
Yeah.
And he just went to town on them.
That's so good.
The way that he called out Dwayne for his
Bald fraud,
midlife crisis, everything that John, that we can now see you, like it was so well done from Punk. And like you said, with the stuff with Becky, him naming Becky Lynch by name in the promo, I think that hints that she comes into the storyline at some point. B, it also thinks that it definitely means she's
AJ Lee.
I'd love to see that. But it means that she's coming back to WWE, right? There was people thinking that, maybe she's, not getting her money and she's going to go to AEW. No, it's not happening.
No, she re-signed not long ago.
Yeah, exactly. They'll use her when she's ready to be used. And I don't think there's a spot for her, but like we've said at the start, Evolution, that'd be great for her.
Yeah.
Because if you were not planning on using Becky, I think you would say something like the man. Like Seth, you're the man of the household. You need to come and collect Seth. And sort of hint at Becky, but not say Becky. But he flat out was like, Becky Lynch, come and get your man.
She actually responded to that.
I know, and that tweet, we got to find the picture of that, and Editor Luke can chuck it up here, where she called him out because, you're not the one that should be looking out. I'm not the only one who should be looking out for their man, because he was in matching gear with Roxanne Perez. I mean, drawing a bit of a thin line between the two of them, but fair enough.
Difference.
Shots fired. It was great. But look, that opening promo was huge. Then the brawl with Seth. And look, we've seen pull apart brawls a lot, even between Punk and Seth.
This was something else.
This was just so well done. And the fact that they kept, like, as soon as his music hit, Punk didn't sit there and wait for him, just charged him.
Oh, I loved it. Loved it. Put a reaction clip up on TikTok. Go check it out.
Then we'll brawl at the front, and then we'll get into the ring and we'll brawl some more, and then we'll pull security cart, we'll brawl some more, and then we'll go to the announce area and we'll brawl some more, and then we'll separate everybody. And then we'll run around the outside into the crowd and brawl some more.
And then they brawled backstage, and then we got the confirmation. Seth Rollins, CM Punk, next week on Raw. Steel cage.
In Madison Square Garden. So obviously Raw is MSG this week.
NXT is MSG Light this week.
Yeah, it's fine.
In the theatre, I think they're calling it.
You've got Punk. You've got Rollins. You've got a steel cage, and you've been told, finish it. Finish it in this steel cage match. They're not finishing a steel cage match.
No, it's going to WrestleMania.
Do you know whose career almost started in Madison Square Garden when they used to sneak in and do photography?
Paul Heyman.
Paul Heyman? Is he affiliated with Roman Reigns?
Yeah.
Who Seth Rollins stomped and took him out of action? And does he owe a favour to CM Punk? And is he like a very pivotal person in Madison Square Garden? And is he possibly going to be involved in this entire thing that's going to happen next week?
I reckon so.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think the triple threat happens.
I think so.
We were sort of like teetering on it for a little bit. And then I was like, no, Seth Roman needs to be one-on-one. But then this Punk stuff started flaring up after what happened in the Elimination Chamber. I was like, oh, they're just going to go Seth Punk. But then there's still that loose thread of Roman Reigns to tie up. And I think those three, triple threat match, main event night one.
Yep.
And we'll soon touch on why Jay will not be the main event because his story's shit.
Hot garbage. My only tie to this is, how do you get Roman to interfere in a cage match?
Same way he did with Cody and Solo in the cage match. His music just hits. He comes out, the cage door opens, and then he slams it shut. Something's gonna happen.
I can see this being a great cage match. I can't see it ending this feud.
No.
Not this close to WrestleMania, and not with both of them needing something to do at WrestleMania. Because like if this was a thing, and like you said, you've got a clear path for Rollins and Roman to go off, and Punk and Cody, or Punk and whatever to go off, I can see them finishing this to split. But I don't see the others have a
Interesting
path.
you mentioned that, because I've seen a lot of people spread some shit around this week online.
Please don't tell me it's Logan Paul. Please don't tell me it's Logan Paul. Please don't tell me it's Logan Paul.
No. Logan's teeing up shit with AJ Styles. I've seen a graphic spread around of Cody and Punk versus Rock and Cena in a tag match on night one. Are we really just going to like copy and paste the same fucking story from last year's WrestleMania into this year's one?
I hope not.
Oh, look, it'd be a great match. I'd eat it up, but we don't need it this year.
Correct. And I also don't, and maybe this is just me with a bit too much of a logical brain to it, I can't see Rock and Cena beating Punk and Cody. Like, Punk and Cody are better wrestlers right now.
Yeah.
I can't, that's not a fair match to me. Whereas last year, because you had Roman with Rock against Seth and that, you're like, oh, this could go either way. Whereas, like, Cena is last year of his career, Rock is more, like, less than part-time against Punk and Cody. Nah, that's not going to happen. There's also obviously that if Punk wins this triple threat, he is his favour to get into the Cena and Cody match and stuff. Like, I don't mind that booking, but I don't think you're going to need to, especially if the plan is for Cena, heel Cena, to win the 17th off Cody. You don't want Punk in there eating a pin or like him getting pushed down because of it. I think that you and I have discussed, and Chris on our Discord has very clearly stated how he's sick of the Cody championship run right now, and it's kind of a bit stale. 6
title defenses in nearly 12 months on TV/PLE.
Well, and half of them are against Solo and Kevin Owens, and that's it. Like, it's not been a wide range of a championship run, so it can definitely be seen as being boring. If he's losing, I think we all realised Cody is a better chaser than a champion. His story for that 2-year run to WrestleMania was brilliant, but it was because he was chasing. As soon as he won,
was an epic chase too.
As soon as he won, we kind of were like, sweet, he's got it. That's awesome. Do something with it.
Now what?
And nothing. And I'm not saying that Cody is a bad wrestler or a bad character. He is. He's great. It's just I don't think he has the same investment when he is on top than when he is chasing. And in general, right, a lot of babyface champions struggle to keep the audience's attention as a babyface champion because they're winning all the time and there's no adversary up against them.
Yeah.
Whereas heel champions, they find their way to cheat out of victories or do dodgy things, and the babyface all falls short, so the crowd gets more and more behind it. Hasn't happened with Cody's run. So I think Cena, being the heel, can win this, and then Cody, through this passion that he showed on SmackDown in this thing,
great promo.
Give that to him as he's a chasing person, and he can chase Cena, and he can chase The Rock, and eventually have to chase Punk or Roman or somebody else towards the end of the year and let him win it again. But I think he needs some time without that belt, and we need a big heel on top.
Yep. Moving on to the other championship that will be decided at WrestleMania. Jey Uso versus Gunther. Yeet. It's not that Jey, as a character, is doing poorly at the moment.
Not?
It is the fact that the booking is so dumb.
Just boring.
Back-to-back weeks, Gunther, of all people, has been dealing with the Alpha Academy.
And Jey has been dealing with A-Town Down Under. I love Grayson, don't get me wrong, but...
Love Austin Theory. But, like, come on. Like, why are you inserting all this noise into the feud?
Because...
It's just, they have no trajectory for it.
It's because they made the match 2.5 months before it was going to happen. And they were like, shit, how do we get this going for 10 weeks?
It's just boring.
Because the point of Jey and Gunther has always been Jey falls short.
Yeah, Jey's an underdog.
The crowd believes in Jey. No one believes in main event Uso. He can't do it as a singles champion. He can't get there. He always falls short. He wins the Rumble. Now he's got his chance for redemption. Yep. That's the story. And that story was done in the very start of February.
What do you do for the other 2 months?
And that's correct, right? Gunther doesn't have to have a story.
No.
Gunther is the big dominating heel. He chops everybody. He beats everybody down. I'm better than you. The ring mat is sacred. I am a better wrestler than everybody in this company. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
That's his story. You don't need to do that for the next 2 months because you're already there. So the problem is we're booked into a corner now where what do we do with Jey and Gunther without ruining what's going to happen at WrestleMania in 6 weeks' time? Well, we've got nothing to do. Let's throw him Otis.
Yeah, and it's just been Jey running in to save people from Gunther after he's beaten them down. And it's just... doesn't get me excited for the match at WrestleMania.
It doesn't. And I love Tozawa and I love Otis, and I think the crowd do. So I can see they're trying to go for the sympathetic thing. But I don't think that's enough. If you really want to play the sympathetic card for Gunther beating up faces and stuff that's going to really get the crowd pissed off. Let him chop Michael Cole. Let him chop Pat McAfee. Like you said, maybe not Stu the cameraman, but like let him just somebody that is just a backstage hand. Adam Pearce. Just let him just whoop somebody, and that's what gets Jay invited. Because if it's Otis, like we're all like, that's exciting. I wish Otis. But also we kind of want Otis to get his back. We want Otis to get back at Gunther now because he's, the one that's beating him up.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's like Pat or Cole, well, we don't want Pat to go beat Gunther up. We want Jay to beat him up for Pat. Yeah, just I'm really stale on this feud, and I'm worried that the next 6 weeks is going to be boring.
Yeah. Moving on. So they're trying to inject some non-boring serum into this next person. Finn Balor came out to confront Bron Breakker. We've still got lots of drama going on in Judgment Day. There's still talks of new members. I noticed it was a plural.
Was it?
Plural? Yes.
I know Dom's the one that keeps saying there's a new member.
And Finn's like, no, we don't need new members.
Maybe it's Rey Fenix.
So he goes out, confronts Bron Breakker. Bron comes down to the ring because he was up in the stands talking to
I think it was
Jackie Redmond.
Was it Jackie in the stands?
I think it was Jackie.
Okay.
I think Kathy does backstage stuff. Anyway, and then Carlito and Dom. Dom was out there, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they both try and attack Bron. Bron doesn't have a bar of it. Is this leading to a Bron Finn match at WrestleMania? Is that all they're going to do? You theorize that they might still inject Penta and Ludwig into the scene.
I still think the IC title match needs to be a multi-man. That tends to be the way they've done it the last few WrestleManias. Yeah. It's the workhorse title. I would love to see Finn in there. I would love to see Bron, Sheamus, Pete Dunne, Ludwig, Penta. But maybe Penta's not in there if he gets a tag team partner that shows up before WrestleMania. But we'll talk about that later.
I reckon I'll say that for after Mania.
Possibly. But yeah, I wouldn't mind that being around the IC title. And I'd like Finn to win.
Give Finn some damn respect, dude. He's been used like absolute shit. His winning percentage is below 40% for the past 2 years.
Yeah, it's terrible. And for him to be cutting his promo in the ring saying that he's untouchable when he's in the ring. Like, we love you, Finn. You're a fantastic wrestler.
You're great in the ring, but your booking says otherwise.
You lose a lot. The only problem that I have is my assumption would be if that goes into a IC title program and somebody like Finn or Kaiser or whatever wins it, I don't think Bron sticks around in that IC title. I think he goes straight upwards. And if he's going straight upwards, it's to Gunther and Jay. And we've already seen Bron and Jay before, and I don't really want to see that again. So if we assume Jay beats Gunther, right? Yeah. WrestleMania, we get the big pop sometime on night one of WrestleMania, the whole crowd yeeting to the new world champion. Greatest moment we've got, right?
Or as the games do.
You can't move your back. But then if that's the case and then Bron moves up, we've already seen Bron and Jay. And do you just sell Jay to Bron like you did with the IC title where he beat him and then lost it again a couple of weeks later? Yeah. I don't want to see that happen. So the booking for that also kind of worries me. Unless you can get a different feud for Bron. If you can get someone actually for him to sink his teeth into and have a proper one-on-one feud with somebody, if it's a returning Ilya, I'd love to see that. Give them some matches and let somebody else run with the IC title. But I think with you, the true story that needs to be finished is Finn Balor. And
world title.
Let him start with the IC title. Let him work his way back.
All right. Quickly touching on a couple of other title-related things on Monday Night Raw before we move to the main event. Both Lyra and the War Raiders retained their championships. Lyra Valkyria against Ivy Nile for the women's Intercontinental title.
Against Dakota Kai.
Was it?
Yeah, and then Ivy Nile attacked afterwards because she hasn't had her match yet.
Oh, man, I felt like that was last week.
No.
Man, it's been a long week. Jesus Christ. War Raiders retained against American Made.
Correct, because they both lost their titles on the same week. And they also showed that weird Chad Gable thing down in Mexico where he got a box, which is clearly a mask. And he's going to have a luchador mask and come back as El Chad Gable. El Gabelo.
Nah, man, Shorty G's back.
Oh.
All right, moving on to the main event. Rhea versus IYO for the Women's World Championship with Bianca Belair at ringside.
In all white.
Boy, we thought Rhea was a lock to retain this title.
I think everybody did.
A lot of people did. And Triple H, he gave us the slip. He shocked us. IYO Sky wins the Women's World Championship and goes on to WrestleMania to face Bianca Belair.
I like this. I like that you are giving a bit of character depth to Rhea because
That's a big thing I want to touch on.
it felt like, and I think they touched on this mostly with the backstage promo with Kathy, that Rhea has been isolated. So she was out of Judgment Day. She lost them.
Damien.
She lost Damien when he went to SmackDown. And since then, she's kind of been by herself. And as much as we all love Mummy, and Mummy's always on top, and she's just been an absolute badass, there's been nothing to her being a badass. It's just been
I want my title
Rhea.
back from Liv.
100%.
That was it. And then once that story got wrapped up, where does it go from here?
It just goes, I'm the baddest person in the WWE. I'm the strongest. That's Bianca's bit. But anyway, but like it's just been, I'm Rhea Ripley, no one can beat me.
Yeah.
There was no depth of story to it. Whereas now, the way that they played on her emotions, calling out Bianca and I'll see you at WrestleMania, and then losing, her screaming after the match, the fantastic promo she cut backstage.
Still can't beat Io Sky.
They've kept that story going. It's just adding depth to her.
Yeah,
and I love that.
And I think this is really going to do well for her moving forward. Because not that I'm getting sick of her, but I feel like a lot of the wrestling community is getting a bit tired of Mummy and her constantly being on top. So I feel like a lot of people would have been happy about this win from Io. And this backstage promo that she delivered, the emotion in her voice, and a lot of other people are saying this will potentially lead to a heel turn. I'm just looking forward to this making a bit of a different side for Rhea Ripley and having some more sinister thoughts and not so much be heel, but just be a little more ruthless.
More ruthless, more aggressive. Yeah, I think so. And all flowers to Io, man. Like we've said for such a long time how brilliant of a wrestler she is. This match was great.
She earned this.
They hit each other really hard. I mean, there's one spot that is stuck in my head, which was the crossbody that Io hits through the ropes to Rhea.
Yeah. And
that they did this spot in front of Bianca. And that's normally like it's a spot, right? Wrestlers always do the tope suicida or whatever through the ring. Yeah. But for some reason, Io, the way she hits it, the way she collapses onto Rhea, and then they thump onto the ground, it just hits harder than every other one I hear. And the two of them just take it. And when they were banging their heads against the apron and then the announce table, like they were just hitting each other. And they weren't holding back.
They went to war, man.
And it was so good to see them like be able to just go hard. And Bianca watching and then cheering on and then getting involved. And I had a little bit of a thought. I'm like, oh, great. She's pushing Rhea and now, Rhea's pushing Bianca now. Bianca's going to push her. We're going to have a DQ, call the match off. Oh, shady finish.
But the ref didn't call her off.
Referee's discretion. I feel like Rhea's going to dig into that part of the storyline that she put her hands on me. And
potentially, but she touched on it in her backstage promo, and she's like, I can't even really blame Bianca because it was my own fault because I was too confident and I distracted myself. So everyone's saying it's going to work to a triple threat at WrestleMania. I feel like that's pretty much the logical steps.
Yep.
Because where does Rhea otherwise go for WrestleMania?
So if that's the case, and we have Rhea versus Io versus Bianca, we have Bianca Belair, who has not lost at WrestleMania.
Rhea, who can't beat Io Sky.
So that then means that
it's an interesting tangible.
We're getting Bianca pinning Io.
Oh, don't give Io like a 7-week run with the title, man.
Well, I mean,
but like I mentioned this on
someone's streak gets broken
on Tuesday because I reckon if Bianca loses her streak, you watch people pull out the race card for it.
Oh, please! But it's. I don't even know how long is the streak. It's like 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah, it's 36.
37, 38, 39, 40, 40. It's 5. Yeah. If that, it's maximum.
But
of
still,
5.
like that's the second longest WrestleMania streak ever.
Yeah, of course. But have they called it a streak yet?
No, and that's it. Well, they didn't really call Undertaker's a streak until he got like 9,
that's 10
or so. So
it's
we'll
not
see what happens. Like I know Josh would be absolutely livid if Bianca won.
Hi, Josh.
He's not a fan. I don't know if I'd be that fussed, to be honest, but I feel like it's almost too predictable that Bianca's going to win. And I feel like she needs to come up short and then get her championship a little later.
Maybe. But then she loses at Mania.
Yeah. I don't know. You can't win. Like, it's going to be a banger match for sure.
Before we talk about the other shows, let's continue with the Bianca story. Let's go to SmackDown.
Actually, let's jump to SmackDown now.
So we keep Bianca involved here. Great promo in ring where she's sort of really emotional about it. And this is one of my gripes with all this stuff happening with Jade and Naomi in the chamber and then Bianca winning, was how do you tell a story where Bianca can move past her best friends fighting and causing all these problems to focus on a WrestleMania match, right?
And I think they tied that up really well.
I think they did it. I think they did. And the way that, she was all emotional and she told Naomi to come out because, she was my best friend and she's had my back the whole time. And when Jade wasn't there, Naomi filled in and I love her. And she was my best friend. Like, Naomi was my best friend. And then come out here and tell me the truth. And then Naomi comes out.
Sparkly neck brace
that she wore at the Queen of the Ring premiere during the week as well. I like the when they keep up a bit of kayfabe. That's nice. But yeah, Naomi comes out and just says, look, it's not about them. It's the fact that, you weren't given, it's just for you, B. Like, I'm looking out for you. Everybody needs to, I'm here for you. I'm looking out for you. This wasn't about anything else. This wasn't about the crowd.
Kept dodging the question.
Yeah,
did
you do it? She's like, no, it's not about if I did it or not. It's for the people.
It's for the,
it's for you,
championships, babe.
I've got your back. Yeah. And then eventually she just
got really emotional. And
you got real emotional.
I got a bit teary. And that's the thing, seeing the emotion on them impacted me.
Yep.
And it helped just really emphasize how important that was for these wrestlers.
Yeah.
Naomi admits it. Yeah, I did it. But I did it because Jade has been pulling you down. Mm-hmm. She's been taking advantage of you and your spotlight. And
she's been riding on your coattails the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
Which, again, full props to Triple H.
Yeah.
You're
bringing real life to the forefront.
Your booking of heels, and it's the same thing we said with KO and Drew and all that sort of stuff, is that their stories are real and they're logical. And that is a logical thing for Naomi to say, is that, no, I got the shits with Jade because the only reason she won everything is because she was with Bianca and she was holding you down. Great storytelling.
You get more emotional and Bianca's like, nah, we're done. I don't want to hear anything from you. I can't even look at you right now. We're done. I feel like it was at that point where Bianca said, we're done. That I was like, that's the loose thread tied off. She starts walking her out. Naomi rips her neck brace off, starts abusing Bianca, calls her a bitch.
I wish I did it earlier. I wish I did it to him more.
Yeah.
And that was finally where I think we've now gone Naomi turning heel. And you've said for a while, you've hated the glow character.
I'm on board, bro. I'm on board. Get rid of the glow stick. Yep. Have her be this heel character where she's like, I was trying to do this for Bianca because she deserved better.
I did it for The Rock.
I did it for Bianca.
But yes, I think she needs to fully invest in the heel thing, embrace the heel thing. Jade coming out in that white jumpsuit.
What an outfit, bro. Just the white, the red blood that was all glittery all over the jumpsuit and the boots as well. It looked fantastic.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Beatdown was fine. She hit her with the Jaded. There's your WrestleMania match, Naomi versus Jade. And I think that, like you said, Bianca walking out saying she was done with it. And when she called her a bitch, and rather than Bianca turning back and fighting...
Well, she was about to, but then...
Jade came in.
Yeah.
Bianca walked away.
Yeah.
Bianca is now walking into Raw and not coming back.
No. There's no need. She got what she wanted from Naomi. She's now left her behind. Jade can deal with her. Maybe they do something after WrestleMania, but Bianca's now focusing on that World Heavyweight Championship match at WrestleMania.
Yep, I agree.
Moving on to NXT before we jump back into SmackDown. New champion. Shawn Spears defeats Tony D'Angelo for the North American Championship. Shawn Spears' first ever WWE Championship between both of his tenures.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. Big props.
Cool.
Dan hasn't watched it.
No, not at all. Yeah, but then again, I didn't care for Tony, man. I didn't care for the whole mafia thing. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
And then how do you turn...
And they had both of their factions out there as well, and that played into the finish. So I was just like, okay. It wasn't a clean win, but they're the heel faction. Sean's leader of the heel faction, so it kind of makes sense. There was a video that went out on social media after that where Shawn Michaels went to shake Shawn Spears' hand. Just walked away. Nice little touch.
Okay. I mean, play the heel. Yeah, I just never cared for how you turn a mob boss face in wrestling. Yeah. It didn't make any sense to me. But look, good for Shawn Spears, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Love it.
I think it's really good to see that WWE is giving the AEW or ex-AEW guys, who was an ex-WWE who went to AEW back to WWE guy, an opportunity.
Flip-flop.
Same as like they did with Ethan Page, that like, you know, they're giving these guys, and it's probably a good sign for people that we're not going to hold you back just because you left.
Yeah.
We will base you purely on your talent and your character and how the crowd reacts to you. And Sean had been getting that for a while. So it's good that he's got the title. It's the same when Ethan Page was the champion. I'm sure it'll be the same when Ricky Saints get a title shot in the not too distant future, that he'll have the same sort of reactions, because he's at the moment sort of starting to get his feet wet.
I don't want to see Ricky Saints versus Ridge Holland. I'm just going to leave it at that and we can move on.
But like I said to you, I don't think Ricky stays in NXT.
No, I don't think he's going to be there.
I think he is there until Stand and Deliver, because there's nothing for him yet on the main roster.
And then he can work
straight away post-Mania he's gone. So he's not going to get an NXT title run or anything, because he's going to go to the main roster.
Yeah. Cora Jade, injured again. Not her knee, thankfully.
Not an ACL.
But they did have to call off the match between her and Jordan Grace. Mm-hmm. Jordan Grace was the victor by default, by referee stoppage. So hopefully nothing too serious there, and it was just a little niggling thing. Stopped her from finishing the match, and then she's back.
Get injured.
A lot of people are talking smack about Cora Jade already. Oh, she's injury prone, get rid of her, blah, blah, blah. I think that's a little rough. I'm not a huge fan of Cora. I don't really connect with her at all. I don't find her gimmick interesting. I don't think she's that flash in the ring, to my perspective. Yeah, she's got a great big look.
It wasn't going to be that obvious with it, right?
I don't vibe with her, so I'm not too fussed. I hope she's okay, but yeah.
Because she's facing Masha Slamovich, right?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. So when's that? That's
the next Friday.
Yeah.
It's next Friday night. And the Hardys.
Well,
Fraxium.
Hardys. We're going to touch on that right now, because NXT Roadblock is next week.
Yep.
We have Obafemi defending the NXT Championship against Moose.
Wins.
Both titles are not on the line. I want to make that clear. Same for this next match. Fraxium versus the Hardys.
It's just for the TNA tag titles?
Correct.
Yep.
Just for the TNA tag titles. And then we have a winner-take-all match between Stephanie Vaquer and Julia, NXT Women's Championship and the NXT North American Women's Championship are on the line.
Yep.
And we are going to have the second ever match where a double champ will be crowned in NXT.
Champ.
Stephanie
Goes
to Stephanie, yep. A lot of rumours going around online that Julia is injured and needs to take time off, perhaps surgery.
Well,
I don't believe those rumours, because I saw rumours that she needed time off, and then I saw ones that she didn't. So I don't know what to think.
Why else would you book a champion versus champion match this early in the feud and not at Stand and Deliver, your biggest pay-per-view?
Yeah. You know, when you speak logic.
I really hate that I have that left break. I also watched the interview with Stephanie with Bully Ray on Busted Open After Dark.
I've seen a lot of clips from that during the week.
It was really good.
Really entertaining.
Yeah, and I have to give her a whole lot of credit for her English and the way that she is really trying to work with the media. She is getting a whole lot better. And Julia has obviously tried as well, but both of them not having English as their first language.
And they're both like taking lessons like a lot during the week. Yep. So props
and
to
you
them.
can tell from Stephanie
it's improving week on week.
And the fact that they're just both so talented in the ring, like it's going to be a brilliant match. I hope that the injury is at the moment, just a pain tolerance type thing. So like she'll probably just have something, her injection ready to go do your match and work through it and then fix it afterwards. So I hope it doesn't limit what they can and can't do. And I don't want to see a shoddy something happen or a turn or anything.
Just fucking roll up, finish the match.
Just have a good 15, however long the girls can go, give them a good match, great finish at the end, and assumedly Stephanie wins.
Yeah. Agreed. Touching on Stephanie as well, I sent you the article during the week that it was actually her choice to move to NXT because she was given the offer, do you want to go to NXT or the main roster? She initially chose to go to the main roster, but had a bit of a think about it and realized that she did need to make that adjustment to the way that WWE presents their product, as well as working on that language barrier and learning English a little better. So she ended up making that choice for NXT, and it's not necessarily a bad one. And I think when superstars really look at that sort of option for how to better their career the most, whether they're choosing to go to NXT, WWE, AEW, whatever's going to benefit you the most. Like touching on Will Ospreay on the CVV podcast and the comments from Triple H and like not being able to take the grind. No, it was because he wants more time with his family. He's got a son. And he's prioritizing family. And I can respect that.
Can't live in England and do 3 weekly shows in the US every week. So Yeah, agree. I think, as you quickly mentioned, Ospreay, let's just also mention we're not going to talk about AEW much on this podcast, and you're obviously 40 minutes in and you've realised we haven't spoken about it yet. It's because Revolution's on Monday for us here in Australia, so we're going to do a Revolution breakdown and podcast on that, which will talk about all the stories and stuff coming through that and things in there. So we are also trying to do a recap episode with the other guys that were with us.
Wrestling Oz Style,
the guys were with us in Brisbane for Grand Slam. So we'll try and do some AEW content specifically with those guys based off what happened at Grand Slam. And because a lot of Grand Slam obviously led straight into the Revolution matches, we'll try and put all that stuff together. So it's not like we're avoiding AEW. We are still sort of keeping up with it. We just wanted to do a separate thing for their pay-per-view.
The one thing we will discuss, though, the Queen of the Ring movie premiere happened this week.
Well, it's two things, but yep, this is the first one.
No, it was that leading into...
Mariah
May attacking Toni Storm on the red carpet. I wonder what went on behind the scenes, talking to security at that movie, just being like, this lady's going to come up and attack the lady with the belt. Don't think it's real. It's not real. It's a bit for wrestling. Don't go too crazy.
Yeah, and you'd hope that all the reporters and stuff that were there wouldn't freak out. Oh my God, someone jumped the railing.
Surely they would have had to be like, hey, this is going to happen. Don't freak out.
Here's your briefing, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, the only other AEW thing I was going to say that we could touch on is Rey Fenix, but we kind of already sprinkled that one in there that he has been released.
Tony let him out of his contract, and he's now a free agent.
Yeah, so does that mean... I think Penta keeps this run going.
Yeah, he's on a bit of a roll as a singles competitor, and I just quickly mentioned earlier, I think it's probably best to give it a few weeks, let them sort out the legal stuff, maybe get some, vignettes done up, teases and stuff during the weeks leading up to WrestleMania, and then post-WrestleMania, Lucha Bros, bruv.
I did say, though, if you watched SmackDown, when Nick Aldis was talking about the tag team division and all the different things,
pentagram.
Doing the lines across, there was 5 teams, 5, pentagram, 5.
Hey.
Penta and Phoenix. Ooh. Get it, six-pack challenge at WrestleMania.
Subtle. Love it. Speaking of SmackDown, let's move on to that. Randy Orton kicking off the show. Dropping some truth bombs.
Wanting to kick off KO's head.
Wow, let's talk about him calling Cena a rock bottom first.
That was funny. That was a great line.
Great line. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, Kevin Owens. He respects Kevin Owens the wrestler, but Kevin Owens the man. Not after what he's been doing lately.
Yeah. And he wants to prove to everybody that Pat McAfee is the second best punter in the WWE.
Voices started talking to him again at Chamber.
Yeah.
As soon as he said that, and like just his delivery through this promo as well, the emotion that he conveys in his own unique way, it got me so fired up. I can't wait for this. Punt versus pile driver at WrestleMania. It's going to be fantastic.
2 band moves. It's going to be a great match. And to be fair, I kind of think that maybe you just keep Sammy away.
Yeah.
And
on Raw, they said Sammy's out indefinitely.
I reckon he maybe misses WrestleMania.
Do
you want to sell it?
It's going to be bad. Like, it's unfortunate for him, but just sell it, run with it, give him something fresh after Mania.
What do you do with Sammy otherwise? Because the rumor was the Karrion Kross match, and I will give flowers to Karrion Kross for what he's been doing the last couple of weeks, and someone caught on to it on the internet.
The fact that someone caught onto it, and then he was like, yes, someone's paying attention.
Bang on. So if you watch Karrion when he was doing the stuff with
Kofi
and Woods had his hair in a ponytail.
Yep.
So did Karrion. And then he was with Sammy. He had in like the top knot. So did Sammy. And then this week he's talking to AJ fully straight.
And I was like, he popped into the shot, and I was like, oh, that's an interesting look for Karrion.
He's doing
it. And it wasn't
reason.
until like a day or so after that started circulating the internet, and I was like, holy shit. So many layers to this character of Karrion Kross since he's come back. Like, putting the hourglass in the ring when the bloodline was in there, having it turn.
Yep.
That started the dissolving of the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
And these little things, and he's just like, it happened with AJ, it happened with Drew, like so much.
I think that the best part to all of this is Karrion dropping all the AOP and all the rest of the schmozzle around it.
Well, unfortunately dropping them because they got released.
But he never needed them, I don't think. Like,
no.
He didn't need the heavies, and I don't think anyone's really invested in Karrion versus AJ or anybody for the in-ring match. You're invested in it for the story, and the story of that comes on the back of this Karrion character.
Yeah.
So if he keeps doing that, I think let him have something, but I don't want it to be Sammy. I think Sammy has WrestleMania off. You sell the fact that match with KO, how bad that was. Obviously, KO is not back on SmackDown this week, so maybe give him a week or two.
They'll do great.
And you can sort of let Randy take out his frustrations on everybody else until KO finally comes back, and then there's your WrestleMania match.
Yeah. You mentioned the tag teams just before, so we'll touch on the stories that have developed this
Snooze.
week. Triple threat, number one contender match, pretty deadly one with a beautiful backslide. The backslide boys! For those Australian fans who know the backslide girls. And then they will go on to face the winner of DIY and Street Profits, which is happening next week for the championships. So,
yep. And all of this is just wasting its time until we get a six-team match at WrestleMania.
Yep. Moving on.
Yep, please do.
Last thing, well, two things to touch on before we wrap up SmackDown talk. Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, don't give a shit. That feud does not interest me for a WrestleMania match in the slightest. A match in general, sure.
Yeah, but the problem...
But like it being billed as a Mania match. Both of them were world champions in the same day, WrestleMania last year. And then this year, they're just there to take up space.
But they're also just basing it on roll-ups and the other
you eliminated
if you
me
make this feud proper, if you really get the two of them in the ring and you say that I was the champion and I took all the effort to get to Seth finally and I beat you and I won and you cashed in and ruined it for me.
And then I was trying to get back up and you eliminated me from the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
And I was trying again and you eliminated me from Elimination
There's a story there, but you've got to let them have some time.
What they're doing now, they're just like... As of now, don't care. I'm sure it's a slow burn and they might heat up in the couple weeks leading up to WrestleMania. But
hey, Reece.
Hey, Dan.
Where are the next 3 weeks of television?
Overseas.
In Europe?
Well, Spain.
Yeah,
next week.
But they're over in Europe, right?
Yeah.
You know, Drew's from Europe, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to get all these big hometown pops. It's all going to be about Drew.
Okay.
I reckon the next couple of weeks you're going to get Drew storyline.
Okay, good.
And then you can go back to Australia and you can get Damian storyline, and then you tie it together at WrestleMania.
Done. Touching on our United States Championships, plural, on SmackDown.
I don't care.
LA Knight won. Good. They didn't really do much with Shinsuke. It's very unfortunate that this has happened just after his brother has passed away, though. So maybe he's going to be taking some more time off to spend time with his family and help with the grieving process. So best wishes to Shinsuke
100%.
during this hard period.
But it's unfortunately held the title hostage in that period, and the rest of the division has just been lame because it's all been the same guys winning and losing to each other to LA Knight.
Yeah.
So I do want to not fully blame Shinsuke. The fact that he wasn't able to be on TV and stuff, obviously for personal reasons, is fine. But the rest of the division held behind didn't step up and covered it. And so I just have not cared. And now you put it back on LA Knight, who I didn't care about in the first place because the BFT is a crappy finishing move.
Hey, that one
time he did one good one was fine.
When Santos Escobar dove off the top rope and boom, BFT out of nowhere. That was mint. And it all depends on the selling as well.
Yeah.
But the majority of the time, the wrestlers don't sell the same. They don't spike themselves. So.
Do you know what else sucks? Michin.
Michin, absolutely. Thank God she didn't win.
Harsh.
No, it's not harsh. Michin sucks.
Fine.
She has admitted that she sucks because she can't connect with the crowd. That's not verbatim. She did say that she has issues getting over with the crowd and she doesn't know why, and that's fine.
Because she doesn't cut promos really well. Like it's
just I'm over this. This needs to be the last fucking straw. But given how it ended, I don't think it's going to be the last straw, and they're going to continue it because just as Michin looked like she was about to win that Women's United States Championship, a hooded figure pulls Chelsea Green out of the ring, attacks Michin, and costs her the victory. And who was it? Alba Fire.
Yeah, I was going to say, who was it? I can't remember.
It was Alba Fire.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to call it Kaylee Ray, but I forgot that's not her name anymore.
Can we, when we go to Perth and we go to SmackDown, right? If we can get decent enough seats, can we go in black tracksuit pants and black hoodies and just pull them over our heads and then walk up behind the commentator's desk and people will just think we're characters. They're going to jump into the match and they'll just let us in because it's like it's part of the storyline because that's what they always wear. Do you reckon we can do it
for everyone now.
Let's do it.
We should do it.
Keep an eye out for us on the SmackDown before the WWE pay-per-view in Perth, Australia, because we'll try and sneak into the ring.
Yeah. So, and then we're going to get arrested. Interesting touch with having Alba Fire join the Secret Service was the fact that Blair Davenport was going to be joining them, and then she got released. Alba Fire's partner, Isla Dawn, also got released. So what are you going to do with Alba? Oh, she could just take Blair Davenport's place.
It works.
Boom. It works. It's done.
I need to give as many flowers as physically possible to Chelsea Green. She is so phenomenal. Piper was great in her match earlier with Tiffany.
Yeah.
Chelsea was fantastic with all the promos that she's been cutting. In the match, she was great.
We didn't even touch on Charlotte attacking Tiffany
Who cares?
after the match.
The fact that Chelsea came out dressed like Cactus Jack for a street fight was brilliant.
Give me one of them shirts, please.
Look, all the flowers to Chelsea. If Chelsea doesn't get a big United States Championship match at WrestleMania against somebody, anybody, don't care who it is, Chelsea needs to be on that card.
International Women's Day.
She absolutely deserves it.
Give them their respect. Give them something meaningful and good, not just a multi-women match.
It's going to be a multi-women match.
Yeah, probably will be. Unless there's anything else you want to touch on, I want to end on a positive note.
Please do. So we're just about to hit an hour.
Okay, the most recent announcement for the induction of the Hall of Fame, Lex Luger.
It's pretty good. Yeah, this is good.
Absolute massive props to him, especially the work he's been doing with DDP Yoga and DDP himself.
Yep.
Got surprised when they were doing a session by Cody Rhodes with the announcement he's getting inducted this year. And I think that's awesome. And I can't wait to see him walk to the podium and accept that ring at WrestleMania weekend.
The fact that he's in a wheelchair now and like he can
he's
stand.
got some mobility. He's standing, which is good. He needs a little bit of support.
And that's what he's doing DDP for. And like everyone's been saying,
a full 2 months to help rehab a little more. If he can just take 5 steps to get there and prop himself up on that podium, I'm going to be so chuffed for him.
Yep.
To be able to come back from that debilitating injury and paralysis, to be able to walk again. And that's the gold thing about DDP Yoga. It's helped so many people in the past that are in similar sort of instances. If you're having mobility issues, do some research, go do some DDP Yoga. It's all about engaging the muscles, using resistance. So you reach out and grab the ball, but you tense everything and you're grabbing a ball. It's invisible and there's no ball, but you're grabbing it.
So many jokes about you reaching and grabbing balls there, but I'm not going to touch it.
No, you'll touch them later.
Okay, that's what a note to finish on, hey?
Yep, balls. Congratulations to Lex Luger.
We're not watching
This ain't
movies.
Superman, no.
So it's at the moment it's Papa H, Michelle McCool, Lex Luger.
Yep, just those 3 so far.
And there's a little strong talk of the Earthquake and whatever, the tag team.
Typhoon and...
Yeah, an earthquake or whatever. The natural disasters.
Natural disasters.
That's probably maybe the next one. Then I don't know who the celebrity will be. Maybe it's Travis Scott.
Maybe it's Batista. He's a celebrity now.
Nah, he gets his own year for sure. It's not him.
We'll see. It remains to be seen. Thank you for tuning in. We have been Mr. Dan Danielson and Rowdy Roddy Reese. This has been Madison Square Garage and the pool table of relevancy. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to come on, follow us on all our social media. Social media accounts, man. Can't wait to go home and get some rest.
Come talk to us on Discord because Reece doesn't have to use his voice and he can actually like type into it.
And I have coherent sentences
sometimes.
a lot of the time. Well, sometimes I'm just talking shit.
And come chat to us. Make sure if you're watching AEW Revolution, we'll have a video up for that later on in the week. Keep an eye out for that one.
And most importantly, don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time down under the mat. Too sweet, baby!